Good morning. Welcome everybody to Create This. And here is Cindy Harrison.
Hi everyone, and thank you for coming and watching Create This week. We are going to be doing Valentine's Day cards because Valentine's Day is right around the corner. And if you're here, please let me know if you can hear me. And if not, we will fix that problem. And also too, please share with your friends, anyone who is interested in even a little bit creative or you want to spark their creativity. This is a project anybody can do, your children, your grandchildren, and so on. So if anyone is there, I cannot hear myself on Facebook, so.
Okay, let's try something really quick.
I do not know if you can hear me. So let's see. Sorry, I'm just trying to call somebody in to hear me.
I know.
Okay.
Let's try it. Okay.
So I'm going to start, and I'll turn the camera around so you can see what we're using. A lot of the stuff is stuff you find at the craft store or even the dollar store, and easy to locate. So let me do that. 1 second. Okay, so here we have our supplies. And we start off with some basic around so you can see what we're using.
Craft book
A
paper.
lot of the stuff is, and that can be any color you want, but for Valentine's, this is the colors I chose. I have, there's scrapbook paper booklets that go on sale all the time at your local craft store. And so you can pick them up for relatively inexpensively. And the ones I chose, as you see, and reds come in different colors. So if you're going to pick up a piece of paper, say for instance, this kind of striped paper, you want to pick out your design paper first and then go around to the solid palette and then pick a palette color in the solid field that matches your paper, okay? I found these on the internet and Amazon or eBay, and they're a bunch of dies, and they're different. They're stacked heart-shaped dies. So I used these today, but I'm going to show you how to do it. And they're a bunch of dies, and they're different. They're stacked
We're going to need some glue.
Dies. So I used these today, but I'm going to show you how to do it. And I also have a white pen, a pencil. I use a red pen. This is a stylus or an embossing tool. It has balls at either end. Scissors and a ruler. Some ribbon. And this is the 1/8 inch wide ribbon. And I also have papers and a doily and a little bling. This is an envelope I had left over. I got a bunch of stack up envelopes. So I make my cards to fit the envelope. So you need to make sure you know the measurements of your envelope to make it accordingly. This envelope is perfect to take the 8.5 by 11 cardstock and cut it right in half. It's perfect to cut in half. You get the right size for that envelope. So now I'm going to measure the envelope, the cardstock here. And I know that this is a nice cutting mat with a ruler on it. So excuse me. That was a little dry there. If you start at the 1 inch, you can see that it's 8.5. Half of that is 4 1/4. correct? So at 4 1/4, I place my ruler down so it lines up at the top and it lines up at the bottom. I'm going to take the fat ball end of my stylus and I'm going to go right down that line. Give yourself an allowance for the thickness. And this is called scoring. So I score that so that it's easier to bend. Okay? So if you bend that over in half, it should score on that line. There we go. Now we have the beginning of our card. Let's do this one. I want to show you this one because I thought this was really cool. So that's the card. What I did was I started by taking this card, finding the middle line of that card, of that side. So if this is now 4 1/4, we're looking at 2 1/8. So at 2 1/8, now you can do it with the ruler, or you can take this and fold it back on itself to the edge. Put your finger down, take the back side of your nail and score it that way. So you can score it that way as well. Get that tight fold. Now you open it back up and you know where the center of that card is because it's folded. So you have this idea where the center is. What I did was I took my heart, I can get that off here, and I placed it so that the peak was in the center and the point was in the center. And then I traced the inside. But if you don't have that luxury, what you can do is, I would take it on this side, take another piece of paper that you don't care so much about. Okay. And draw what you feel is the size heart you want there. So with your pencil, so you can do that, you can make it thicker. But I'm looking about, for a card that's 5 1/2, I'm looking at a heart that goes from the peak to peak about 2 inches. I think that's about what this is, a little over 2 inches. Okay, with that, we're going to cut that out. And this is if you don't have a die cut. I would not put this on a die cut because it will cut it all the way out, and I don't want to do that. I just want part of it, half of it cut, not the whole heart. So then you take that, place it in the center, and trace around it. Okay? With that, we're going to cut down the whole heart. So now you have this heart. So then you're going to have to do it on the other side as well. Place it in the center and trace around it. Okay? With that, we're going to cut down. Next thing is remember which side you're cutting, because you're cutting the left side here. This funny tool is a Friska's cutter, and it's really neat. It has a very tiny X-Acto blade in the base of it, and what's neat about it is it rotates. So as you turn, it'll rotate the cutter so the cutter follows your movement, and it's very free-flowing movement. Whereas if all you have is an X-Acto knife, you can use that too, but it's harder to get around corners. And this flows much easier. So I don't know if you can tell, but there's that very fine see that very fine razor right there, that X-Acto knife right there. So what I'm going to do is place that on, and this is a cutting pad, so it's okay. Place that on my line where I want it. Make sure that the blade is going in the right direction. And I start like as if I am tracing it with pencil, but I'm actually cutting it with this fine blade. I need to do it. My blade's getting a little rusty, so I need to do it a second time. There we go. So now I can put it out like that, and I have a heart. See? The next thing you want to do is take that piece, that heart, and take it onto a piece of red paper. And you're going to do the same thing. You're going to take it and trace with your pencil. Flip it over. You don't want to fold this and cut it folded, because then you'll have a fold line on your heart, and we don't want a fold line on our heart. We want our heart to be nice and smooth. Let's go around that. If you have a right side and a wrong side to your paper, make sure that you know which side is which, and that you pencil on the wrong side of your paper. Some have, I say that because some paper has grain, kind of a raised or embossed grain. So you want to make sure that you put your pencil marks on the wrong side of the paper when drawing it. Okay. So now we have this heart, and I'm going to round this off a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to stick that right there. See how it's coming along? Now before I do that, I want this ribbon. I want some red ribbon. So let's take some red ribbon, and we'll measure it, the length of our card. To adhere the ribbon, I use this quick dry adhesive, no run formula. And I decide where the line is that I want my ribbon, and I'm just going to put a fine line. This has a nice fine line tip. Now, if you need to put a pencil mark on it so that you know it's straight, then go right ahead. Have this right on top of that. Now, if you need to put a pencil mark on it so that you know it's straight, go right ahead. There we go. Now with the red heart, I'm going to take my tape runner. And I'm going to place that so that it's half over the this part, the cut part, half over the other side. Line it up. Tape it down. Okay. Next, the inside is actually a white doily over a piece of red. So now you have to measure what the inside of your dimensions are. And these are, what did I say there? 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I would come in, this one here, I didn't leave a lot of margin on the top and bottom, but I did leave a 1/4 inch on this side. So if you want to leave a 1/4 inch all the way around, you have to come in a 1/2 inch. That's a 1/4 inch on both sides. If you want to leave an 1/8 of an inch all the way around, you come in a 1/4 inch, an 1/8 on both sides. So this is 4. I know it's math and it kills you, but 4 and an 1/8. So if I want to leave an 1/8 on both sides, I'm going to do 3 and actually 4 1/4. So I'm going to do 4 inches. So you can either measure this or go to your paper cutter and do the 4 inches. Let's see if I can do this. And we said 5 1/2, so we're going to go with 5 1/4. Okay, let's see how good I did. Yep, that's great. So now we take our tape runner. If you don't have a tape runner, use that acid-free glue or a double-sided tape. I'm going to place that in here and know that I only have about an 1/8. There we go. And then we have our doily. Now, 2 ways I did this. I glued this down by taking a little bit of the glue and putting around the solid parts of my doily in the corners here. Corners, it's a circle, but you know what I'm saying. And then in the center, I did the tape runner. Lift that up. Decide how you want your design and center that over your red paper. Now that's in there. Next, if you don't have rubber stamps, if you don't have embossing powder or white ink, use the handy dandy white pen. It's inexpensive, easy to use. I'm going to put on here write your message, and on the inside, being it's on white, I'm going to use red pen, and I'm going to write behind the heart so you don't see it. See how I hide that so you don't see it? And the last thing I did was made this little bow, and I used white ribbon for that one. I first made, hold it this way, I first made one loop, wrap it around, and then pull the other loop up through. Now hold on to that bottom tie and just pull the part that goes through. So you're holding on to this as you're pulling these. Then pump them up a little bit. And pull this one out a little bit. Cut off the excess. To put it here, you can either use the non-acid glue. You can use a glue dot. If I use this adhesive, but it won't hold necessarily immediately. you have to let it set up. So when you put it on there, just leave it alone and don't touch it. But there you go. That's one here. Thank you everyone for being here. Please share it out with your friends. It's a project that anybody can do, I believe. This one here was easier. I did have the die cuts, which made it even more easy. But if you don't, like I said, go ahead and make yourself a template. So if you've got this one as one template, you can go in and say, okay, I made that one, right? Now I need another size. So draw one a little bit out from that. Draw one a little bit out from that. So you have 3 sizes. And when you cut them out, then you use them as your template to cut them out of the real paper that you want to use. And I only did one side because it's gonna happen that if you try to go do a 2-sided heart, one side's gonna either be higher or fatter or something's gonna be different. You can't do both sides. It's very hard to do both sides symmetrical. If you do one side and flip it over, then both sides are going to have the same curvature here, the same angle pitch for the peak. You'll have a symmetrical heart rather than an asymmetrical heart. So what I did on that one, let's go ahead and we'll score this one. We have 4 1/4. That over. Now I already pre-cut this, but as you see it's almost the same distance of that. So if I want to, again, I would go to a paper cutter, but it's too big to put under the camera, so I'm just going to trim that down. Okay, then with the tape runner, and make sure that you get paper that if it starts to look like it's bleaching out, use the other side, because my paper, some of it is like on sale or something, and sometimes it's because it's bleaching out. Okay, so that's on there. Now with the die cuts, I went and cut different sizes of hearts. So you can stack them up and offset them if you want, different colors. You can have hearts on the outside. I like this color better. And do a heart on the inside with your message. So many things you can do. This is vellum. This is a sheer kind of paper that has a swirly design on it. So you can either stick it on top of your other heart, or you can do what I did here was 3 hearts. Now the one thing I did notice with this one is that when I put the double face tape on it, it's showing up. So what I might do is not put that double face tape on it. In that case, I might try the adhesive, which we'll do in a second, or I would make sure that I cover that area. So it's either the purple one or the polka dots. But I'm gonna go with the purple. I just am in a purple mood today. So you want to try to make sure that it doesn't flap so much and catch in the wind. I liked off-centering it. You can go straight up and down if you want. I prefer to off-center that. Also, there are, if you had all the same size parts and you just offset them, that would work too. So these three are the same size, so if they were different colors, you can kind of just do that kind of thing, or go down, you know. So that's cool too. Now on this guy, let's see if I just do a dot in the middle. Come on, you can do it. Yeah, it's stuck now, but that's okay. I'll use my runner here for a second. If I just do it the size of my gem and stick that on there. And then with my gem, well, that seems to be gone. So what you can do is take a button. You can, this is stickers, the Valentine's Day stickers. You can take a sticker like that and just stick it right on there. But there you have your second Valentine's Day card. So I hope you enjoyed this project, or at least inspired you to create more. Think of all the different things that you can do with this for the different holidays. And you can make these up while you're watching TV, and then when you need one, you have it and it's ready to go. So thank you so much. Again, if you're enjoying this program, and there's a lot more wonderful programs on Bubbler Media, please subscribe to Bubbler Media. Share this out. It will be posted on YouTube. Excuse me?
Do you want to switch the camera so we can see you?
Oh, sure. Thank you. Sorry. So yes, if you enjoy this
green screen. I'm sorry. You can't do everything at once. You need me.
It's like I put so many things in there. Yay!
Hey, there you go.
So if you enjoy this project, please share it with your friends and come back again every Sunday, almost every Sunday at 1:30 Eastern. And next week, I'm going to create something new. This week is for Valentine's Day. The word of the week is yes. So say yes to your Valentine. And next week, it'll be celebrating Chinese New Year. Wonder what I'll come up with. Stay tuned and find out on Create This. Thank you.